The night sky above the alien city was heavy with smoke and glowing lights. Tall towers rose like broken teeth, their windows shining in red and blue. The streets were crowded with strange shapes, tall figures with glowing eyes and long arms, moving in silence. The city was alive, but it felt cold. No one looked at anyone else. No one cared. In the middle of that busy street, a small boy sat on the ground. His skin was pale blue, his hair thin and silver, his eyes wide and full of tears. He held the hand of his mother, who lay still beside him. Her chest moved only a little, her face pale and tired. The boy shook her again and again, whispering, "Please wake up, please wake up." Then his voice broke into a cry, sharp and painful. "My mother won't wake up. Somebody, please help." His words echoed down the street, bouncing off the tall walls of metal and glass. The sound was desperate, the cry of someone who had no one else. But the crowd did not stop. Aliens walked past him as if he was invisible. Some turned their heads for a moment, then looked away. Some whispered to each other, their voices cold and flat. A few even laughed, covering their faces as if the boy's pain was a kind of joke. Feet stepped around him, never slowing. The boy cried louder, pulling at his mother's arm. His tears fell onto the dusty street, leaving dark marks on the ground. His small hands trembled. His voice grew weaker, but still he called again and again. "Please, please help us. My mother won't wake up." A tall alien with black eyes stopped for only a second. He looked down at the boy, then shook his head. "Not my problem," he muttered in a low voice, and walked away. Another alien woman passed by, her skin glowing faint green under the streetlights. She looked at the mother's still body, then at the boy, and her lips curled into a frown. She pulled her cloak tighter and hurried away. The boy's heart sank. Why did no one care? Why was the world so cold? He pressed his forehead against his mother's chest, listening to the faint sound of her weak breath. Fear grew in him like a heavy stone. What if she never woke again? What if he was left alone in this endless city? The air smelled of smoke and rain. Distant machines rumbled. Neon lights flickered on and off above him, casting strange shadows on the ground. The boy felt small, almost lost in a world too big, too cruel. Again he shouted, his voice breaking with pain. "Please, somebody help. My mother is sick. She won't wake up." And still, nothing. The crowd moved like a river around him. The boy's cry was just another sound in the noisy night, forgotten as soon as it was heard. Tears blurred his vision. His hands shook as he held onto his mother's arm. His throat hurt from crying. He whispered now, almost too weak to speak. "Please, anyone, please save her." The city gave no answer. The people gave no care. But then, from the far end of the street, footsteps echoed. Different, steady, strong. The boy lifted his head. Through his tears, he saw a figure walking closer. Not tall like the aliens, not glowing, not strange. It was a human. The boy's tears still rolled down his pale cheeks as he looked toward the sound of footsteps. For a brief moment, hope rose inside him. Maybe at last someone would care. Maybe someone would help his mother. But as the figure came closer, the boy's heart fell again. It was not a rescuer rushing to save him. It was just another alien, tall and thin, his face hidden behind a dark mask. The stranger's glowing eyes stared down at the child for only a moment. His voice came out flat, without feeling. "Move the body. Don't block the road." The boy gasped. His small arms tightened around his mother. "No, she is not a body. She is alive," his voice cracked. "Please help her." The masked alien only sighed, shook his head, and stepped past them. His long cloak brushed against the boy's shoulder, and then he was gone, swallowed by the moving crowd. The child's heart broke a little more. He looked around again. So many people, so many voices, but not a single one stopped. Two alien children about his age stood nearby, watching. They whispered to each other, their words sharp like knives. "Why is he crying?" one asked. "Because his mother is useless," the other answered. They both laughed. The boy bit his lip, trying not to scream. He wanted to shout at them, to tell them they were wrong, but his throat was dry, his body shaking. He only pressed closer to his mother, whispering, "Don't leave me. Please don't leave me." A group of traders walked by, carrying glowing crates. One of them glanced down at the boy, his mouth twisted with disgust. Another weak one, always crying, always begging. He spat near the child's feet and kept walking. The boy flinched, his hands trembled. Why were they so cruel? Why could they not see she was still alive? The city around him seemed louder now, machines humming, voices rising, the heavy steps of boots echoing. But inside his small There was only silence, only the faint breath of his mother. Her chest barely moved. She looked more fragile than ever, her skin pale and thin. The boy shook her arm again. "Mother, please, open your eyes, please." Nothing. His tears fell harder. He wiped them with the back of his hand, but more kept coming. The boy raised his head and shouted once more, his voice filled with desperation. "Somebody help us, please, my mother won't wake up." But his cry was swallowed by the noise of the city. No one answered. An old alien woman came close. For a second, the boy thought she might help. Her eyes softened as she looked at him, but then she quickly pulled her hood down, turned her face away and whispered, "I cannot risk it." She walked on, her steps hurried. The boy froze. Risk it? What risk? Why did no one dare to touch them? Fear spread inside his small chest. Was there something more? Was his mother in danger for reasons he did not understand? His grip tightened around her hand. "It doesn't matter," he whispered. "I will not leave you. Never." But his hope was breaking. The crowd was endless, their faces cold. Each step they took made the boy feel smaller, weaker, more invisible. The world had turned its back on him. Then, through the blur of his tears, he noticed something unusual. Not everyone was ignoring him. From the corner of the street, standing apart from the others, was a figure. The figure did not rush past. The figure did not look away. The figure was watching him. And this figure was different. It was not an alien. It was a human. The boy wiped his tears with trembling hands. His small body shook as he clung to his mother's arm. Around him, the alien crowd moved like a river, cold, endless, without a drop of kindness. He felt invisible, as if he were already forgotten. But then, someone stepped out of the shadows. The figure was different from all the others. Not tall, not glowing, not strange. The figure's skin was human, warm in tone, unlike the pale or bright colors of the alien passers-by. The clothes were simple, travel-worn, and dusty. Boots tapped against the wet stone as the figure walked closer, steady and calm. The boy blinked, rubbing his eyes to be sure. Yes, it was true. This was no alien. This was a human. The crowd noticed too. Murmurs spread. Whispers rippled through the street. Some aliens frowned, some shook their heads, others smirked. They did not hide their thoughts. A human, here. Why would he stop? Foolish creature, he will regret it. The boy's chest filled with a spark of hope. At last, someone was looking at him, really looking. The human's eyes were not cold. They carried something the boy had not seen all night. Concern. The man crouched beside the boy, his voice quiet but gentle. "I heard you," he said. The boy gasped, his voice cracked with surprise. You will help?" The human glanced at the mother, lying weak on the ground. Her breathing was shallow, her skin pale. The man touched her wrist carefully, feeling for a pulse. His brow tightened. "She is alive, but barely. She needs care." The boy's tears returned, but this time they were mixed with relief. Please save her. No one else will help us." His small hands gripped the man's arm tightly, as if afraid the human would vanish like the others. But the man did not move away. His eyes stayed on the boy. "I won't leave you." The words were simple, but to the boy they were powerful. No one had said that before. No one had dared. The crowd, however, reacted with unease. A tall alien stepped forward, his glowing eyes sharp. "Human," he hissed, "do not touch her. This is not your concern." The man stood slowly, placing himself between the boy and the alien. His voice remained calm, but there was steel beneath it. He cried for help. "I heard. That makes it my concern." Gasps rose from the crowd. Some whispered angrily. Others laughed bitterly. But none stepped forward. They only watched. The boy pressed close to his mother, his heart racing. For the first time, he felt a wall of protection around him, not built from stone, but from one human's choice. The alien sneered. "You do not understand who she is. Leave them if you value your life." The human ignored the threat. He crouched again and whispered to the boy, "What is your name?" The boy sniffed, wiping his face. "Liran," he whispered. The man nodded. "Liran, I will help you. And your mother." The boy's small chest shook with new hope. "Why?" he asked. His voice was soft, almost broken. The man looked at him with steady eyes. "Because someone must." The boy did not know what to say. His throat tightened. His tears fell again, but now they were different. Less of despair, more of relief. For the first time that night, he did not feel alone. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Whispers turned to low growls. The aliens did not like this. Their cold order was being broken. and from the far end of the street, heavier footsteps echoed sharper than the rest. Alien guards. They were coming closer. The boy, Lyran, held his mother's weak hand tightly as the sound of heavy boots drew closer. The crowd began to part, forming a wide circle. All eyes turned toward the approaching figures. 3 alien guards marched into view. They were tall, armored, and carried glowing spears that hummed with strange energy. Their faces were hidden behind black masks, and their movements were sharp, practiced, full of power. The crowd fell silent. The human stood slowly, placing himself in front of Lyran and his mother. His back was straight, his jaw set. He did not step aside. One of the guards pointed his weapon at the man. His voice was deep and cold. "Human, leave them. This child and his mother are not your concern." Lyran's heart pounded in his chest. He looked up at the human with wide eyes. Would this stranger abandon them now, like everyone else? Would he turn and walk away to save himself? The man did not move. His voice was calm, but strong. He cried for help. I heard him. That makes them my concern. The lead guard tilted his head, as if amused. Do you understand what you risk? This woman carries a forbidden mark. She is a danger to our order. Helping her is breaking the law. The human's eyes narrowed. She is not a danger. She is a mother. The guard's grip tightened on his spear. The air between them felt heavy, tense. The crowd leaned closer, whispering. Lyran pressed his face against his mother's arm. His small voice trembled. Please, don't leave us. The human glanced down at him, and something in his heart hardened. He could not walk away. He could not ignore the boy's desperate eyes. He turned back to the guards. I will not leave. A murmur spread through the crowd. Some gasped. Others shook their heads. One alien muttered, Fool, he will be destroyed. The guards stepped closer. Their weapons crackled with light. Then you choose defiance, the lead one hissed. The man bent down quickly and lifted Lyran into his arms. The boy gasped in surprise but clung to his neck tightly. The human's voice was low, urgent. Hold on to me. Don't let go. Lyran's eyes filled with tears. What about my mother? The man glanced at her weak form. He could not carry them both, not yet, but he would not abandon her. We'll take her too, he whispered. The guards raised their weapons, glowing brighter now. Step aside, human. Leave them or face punishment. The human ignored them. He crouched, balancing Lyran on one arm, and reached for the mother with his free hand. His muscles strained as he lifted her gently. She was weak, but alive. Gasps filled the air. The crowd could not believe it. No alien had dared touch her. But here was a human, holding both child and mother, defying the guards in front of everyone. The lead guard snarled, Stop him! The human's heart raced. He could feel the danger pressing in, the weight of 1,000 eyes watching. But inside, he felt no fear, only resolve. He whispered to Lyran, I promised I wouldn't leave you, and I won't. With that, he turned sharply and began to run. The guards roared. Their boots thundered against the stone as they gave chase. The crowd scattered, some screaming, some cheering, some watching in awe. Neon lights flickered overhead as the human dashed through the dark streets, carrying both boy and mother. The night had changed. The story of one human's choice had begun. The human ran through the narrow streets, his arms burning as he carried both the boy and his mother. Neon lights flashed overhead, painting the walls with red and green shadows. Behind him, the sound of armored boots thundered louder and louder. The alien guards were fast, faster than he expected. Lyran held tightly to his neck, his small body trembling. His mother's breathing was faint, her head resting weakly against the man's shoulder. The human gritted his teeth and pushed forward. He did not know these streets, but he knew one thing. If he slowed, they would all be caught. From behind, a voice shouted, cold and sharp, Stop, human! You do not understand who you carry. The man glanced back for only a second. The guards' glowing weapons lit up the night like lightning. Their faces were hidden, but their voices carried rage. He turned his eyes forward again, his steps quick and heavy. He pushed past startled aliens who gasped as he ran by. Some pointed, some shouted, others simply stepped aside. The crowd was a blur. Lyran's voice shook as he spoke into the man's ear. Why do they want us? Why won't they help her? The man breathed hard, his voice low. I don't know yet, but I will find out. The chase twisted through winding alleys, the smell of smoke and metal filling the air. Finally, the human ducked into a shadowed corner, pressing himself against the cold wall. His chest heaved with breath. Lyran clung to him tightly, eyes wide with fear. The mother stirred faintly, whispering something the man could not understand. Her voice was weak, broken, but her eyes flickered open for a moment. They glowed faintly in the dim light, not with the cold shine of other aliens, but with something different, something brighter. The human froze. What was this? Before he could think further, the guards' voices echoed nearby. Search every alley. They cannot escape. The woman must be contained. Contained. The word cut through the night like a knife. The man leaned close to the boy. Why are they after your mother? What do they fear? Lyran's lips trembled, his eyes filled with tears again. I don't know everything, but my mother, she knows something they want to keep hidden. The man frowned. Hidden? The boy nodded quickly. She carries memories, secrets of the city. She told me once, if they ever found out, we would never be safe. His voice cracked. That's why no one helps us. They are all afraid. The human's jaw tightened. It made sense now. The crowd had not been cruel for no reason. They had been afraid. The mother was more than just a sick woman. She was a threat to the rulers of this world. The guards' footsteps grew closer. Their voices rose. Do not let the human escape. If she speaks, everything will burn. The man's heart pounded. So that was it. This woman carried knowledge that could destroy them or free them. And now, by choosing to help, he was caught in the middle of something much larger than he had imagined. He whispered to Lyran, listen to me. Whatever happens, do not let go of me. Understand? The boy nodded, his small hands gripping tighter. The human shifted the mother carefully in his arms. Her glowing eyes flickered again, as if she wanted to speak, but no words came. He felt the weight of her weakness, the weight of the secret she carried. The guards' shadows appeared at the edge of the alley. Their weapons hummed, casting sparks of blue light against the walls. The human stood tall, holding the boy and mother close. His voice was quiet, steady. If she carries truth, then I will protect it. The guards hissed in anger. Then you will die with it. The human pressed his back against the cold wall, holding the boy and his mother close. The glow of the guards' weapons lit the end of the alley, growing brighter with every step. There was no time left to hide. Run! One of the guards shouted. Block the exits! He cannot escape! The human's pulse pounded in his ears. He looked down at Lyran, whose wide eyes begged him not to give up. The boy's small fingers clutched at his neck. The mother stirred faintly in his other arm, her glowing eyes flickering open for only a moment. There was no choice. He had to move. The human shifted his grip, tightening his hold on both child and mother. Then, with a deep breath, he sprinted into the night. The guards roared, their boots hammering the stones. Spears crackled with energy as they slashed at the air, sending sparks flying against the walls. The crowd scattered, gasping and shouting as the human burst out of the alley like a storm. He darted through the streets, weaving between alien stalls and glowing signs. Merchants shouted in anger as crates toppled, strange fruits and shimmering crystals spilling across the ground. Neon light flashed above him, painting his path in shifting colors. Stop him, the guard shouted. He carries forbidden blood. Some aliens tried to block his way, but the human was faster. He ducked low, dodging between their long arms. He leapt over a fallen cart, his boots splashing through puddles. His breath came hard, but his legs pushed forward, fueled by something stronger than fear, determination. Lyran held on tightly, his face pressed against the man's shoulder. He whispered through his tears, please don't drop us, please don't stop. The man gritted his teeth. I won't. Behind them, the guards' spears crackled again. Bright bolts of energy shot through the air, striking walls and shattering glass. Sparks rained down like falling Saint. Arse! The crowd screamed, running in every direction, clearing the path in chaos. The human turned sharply down a narrow passage, the walls so tight he brushed against them with every step. The sound of the guards grew fainter for a moment. But then, another squad appeared from the other end. Trapped. Lyran gasped, his voice shaking. They're everywhere. The human scanned the passage quickly. To the left, a pile of metal crates. To the right, a broken gate. Above, an old fire escape, rusted but still standing. His eyes narrowed. There was only one way out. He ran at the wall, his boots striking the stone hard. With one arm holding the boy, the other carrying the mother, he jumped, grabbing the edge of the escape ladder. Muscles strained as he pulled them all upward. The metal groaned, threatening to break, but held. The guards charged into the passage below. One raised his spear and fired. The blast struck the wall, shaking the ladder, but the human climbed higher, refusing to let go. Step by step, breath by breath, He climbed until they reached the rooftop. He pulled himself up, collapsing for only a moment on the flat surface. Wind rushed past, carrying the smell of smoke and neon sparks. The city stretched wide below, endless and alive. Lyran clung to him, shaking. We made it? The man shook his head, scanning the horizon. Not yet. They'll keep coming. As if to prove his words, shadows rose from the streets below. More guards, climbing, spreading, chasing. The hunt was not over. The human stood again, lifting the mother gently, his jaw set with resolve. We keep moving, he said. And so, under the flickering glow of alien lights, the chase continued across the rooftops of the city. One human, one alien boy, and a fading mother against an entire world that wanted them caught. The night was only beginning. The rooftop was quiet for only a moment. The human crouched low, holding the mother and the boy close. His breath came hard, his chest burning from the run. Below them, the guards' angry shouts echoed through the streets, but for now, they had slipped from sight. The boy, Lyran, was still shaking. His small hands clung to the man's jacket, as if letting go would mean falling into the endless dark. His eyes were wide with fear. They won't stop, he whispered. They will keep hunting us. The man nodded grimly. I know. He glanced down at the mother, who lay weak and silent in his arms. Her breathing was shallow but steady. Her eyelids fluttered as though she fought to wake. And then softly, she whispered a word. Truth. The man froze. He leaned closer. What did you say? Her lips moved again, the sound barely louder than the wind. They fear the truth. Lyran gasped, his eyes filling with tears. He grabbed her hand. Mother, you're awake. Her eyes opened slowly. They glowed faintly, not like the cold, sharp light of the guards, but softer, warmer, like a flame struggling against the dark. She reached weakly for her son's face, touching his cheek. My little one. The boy leaned against her hand, sobbing. I thought you would never wake. The human gave her a sip of water from a small flask at his side. She drank only a little, but enough to steady her voice. She looked at him now, her gaze sharp, though her body was frail. You are human, she said. He nodded. Yes, and you need help. She closed her eyes for a moment, gathering strength. No one else would dare. They are afraid of me. The man frowned. Because of what you carry. Her eyes opened again, glowing brighter. Because of what I know. The boy looked between them, frightened. Mother, tell him, please. He saved us. He must know. The woman sighed, her voice trembling. Long ago, before my son was born, I worked inside the high tower. I was a keeper of records. I saw things I was never meant to see. The human leaned closer. What things? Her hand shook as she gripped his arm. The rulers of this city. They hide the truth. They tell the people we are safe, that the world is strong, but it is a lie. Our world is dying. The air grows thinner, the ground weaker. They know it. They have known for years. But they hide it. They keep the people blind to hold their power. The man's jaw tightened. He had seen lies like this before on other worlds. He understood the cruelty of rulers who feared truth more than death. The mother's eyes burned brighter now. I tried to speak once. I warned a few, and for that, they marked me. They called me dangerous. They said I was infected, cursed, and so, no one will help me. Lyran clutched her arm, his voice cracked. But you told me the truth, Mother. You said I must never forget it. She smiled weakly, tears shining in her eyes. Yes, you are the keeper now, my son. If I am lost, you must carry it. The boy buried his face against her chest, crying, I don't want to lose you. The human watched silently, his heart heavy. This was no ordinary woman. She carried knowledge that could change everything. And now, by choosing to help her, he was caught in a storm far larger than himself. He looked out across the city. Red lights blinked in the distance. Shadows moved across the rooftops. The guards were still hunting. Time was running out. He turned back to her, his voice steady. If this truth is as powerful as you say, then it must not die with you. I will help protect it. I will help protect both of you. Her glowing eyes softened. Then you are different, human. You are not afraid. The man shook his head. I am afraid, but I choose to act anyway. And with that, he stood once more, lifting them both as Tian. The distant sound of marching boots grew nearer. The truth was out now, and it was more dangerous than he had imagined. The human moved carefully along the rooftop, his arms carrying both the mother and the boy. The city stretched wide beneath them, endless towers, glowing lights, and dark alleys filled with whispers. Far below, the guards' voices rose like thunder, searching, hunting. Lyron pressed his face against the man's shoulder, his small body trembling. He was tired, afraid, and heavy with worry, yet there was something new in his heart. Hope. For the first time since his mother collapsed, he was not completely alone. The boy lifted his head slightly, his voice soft. "Why? Why are you helping us?" The man glanced down at him. His steps were steady, his breathing calm, though his body ached from carrying so much weight. "Because no one else would. Because you called, and I heard you." Lyron blinked, his throat tightened. "So many passed me by. They looked at me, like I was nothing. But you stayed." The human's jaw tightened. Sometimes, the greatest cruelty is not violence. It is silence. The choice to turn away. The boy thought about the faces in the crowd, the whispers, the laughter, the cold stares. His small chest ached. But when he looked at the man, he felt warmth. He felt seen. Are all humans like you?" he asked. The man gave a faint smile. "Not all. Some would have walked past too. But we are taught something on my world. We are taught that life, any life, is worth fighting for." The boy's eyes widened. "Even if it is not human?" "Especially then," the man replied. "Because it is easy to care for your own. True courage is caring for someone different." The words sank deep into the boy's heart. He had never heard anything like them before. Among his people, difference was feared. Among the crowd, compassion was weakness. But this human saw things differently. Lyron's small voice trembled. I thought no one would ever help me, but you came. You are hope." The man stopped for a moment. The wind swept across the rooftop, carrying the faint hum of neon signs. He looked at the boy with serious eyes. "Hope is not in me. It is in you, in your mother, in the truth she carries. I am only here to help you hold it." The boy's eyes filled with tears, but these were not the same tears of despair he had cried before. These were tears of something stronger. His mother stirred faintly in the man's arms, and he reached for her hand. "Mother, he will protect us. He will not leave us." The woman's glowing eyes opened slightly. She smiled weakly, her voice a whisper. "Yes, my son. He is proof that not all hearts are blind." Lyron leaned close to her, whispering through his tears. "We will make it, Mother. We will survive, because he is with us." The human turned, hearing faint footsteps again. The guards were climbing, moving closer across the rooftops. The chase was not finished, but the boy's words gave him new strength. He adjusted his grip and began moving again, faster this time. "Hold on tight," he said. Lyron nodded firmly, his small hands clutching tighter. His eyes, though wet with tears, now burned with determination. "I will. I am not afraid anymore." The man gave a brief nod. "Good. Then we stand together." And in that moment, a bond was sealed. Not of blood, not of race, but of choice. One human, one alien boy, and his fragile mother, bound by hope against the coldness of the world. From the distance came the sound of horns, sharp and echoing. More guards were coming. But this time, the boy did not only feel fear, he felt courage, carried in the steps of the human who chose not to turn away. Hope had found him. The rooftop shuddered under the sound of heavy boots. From every side, the alien guards closed in. Their glowing spears crackled with energy, humming in the night air. The neon lights painted their black armor in shades of red and green, making them look like shadows of fire and steel. The human stopped at the far edge of the roof. Below was nothing but open air, a long drop into darkness. Behind him, Lyron clung to his neck, and his mother lay weak in his arms. There was nowhere else to run. "End of the road," one guard hissed, his glowing eyes fixed on the mother. "Hand her over, now." The human stood tall, his chest rising and falling with heavy breath. His muscles ached, but his spirit did not bend. "She stays with me." The guards spread out, forming a half circle. Their weapons glowed brighter, buzzing like angry storms. The crowd below had gathered, looking up from the streets, whispering and pointing. Everyone was watching. Lyron's small voice shook. We can't fight them. There are too many." The human whispered back, his tone calm. Then we don't fight for victory. We fight for time. Time to survive. The guards moved closer. Sparks flew from their weapons as they raised them high. And then, with sudden force, the human moved. He set the mother gently against the wall, placing Lyran at her side. Stay low. Do not move, no matter what happens. Lyran grabbed his sleeve, eyes wide with terror. But they'll kill you. The man placed a hand on the boy's shoulder, his gaze steady. Not before I make them remember what one human can do. He turned and stepped forward, facing the guards alone. The night wind whipped against his face. His shadow stretched long across the rooftop. The first guard lunged, spear glowing. The human ducked low, grabbing a loose metal pipe from the ground. With a sharp swing, he struck the guard's wrist. Sparks burst as the weapon fell, clattering to the roof. The guard howled in rage. Another guard attacked from the side. The man spun, using the pipe to block the strike. Energy crackled against metal, burning his hands, but he did not let go. He shoved the weapon aside and slammed his shoulder into the guard's chest, knocking him back. The crowd below roared with gasps and shouts. No one had ever seen such defiance, a single human standing against the power of the guards. But more came. A third spear sliced the air, striking his arm. Pain seared through him, but he gritted his teeth and pressed on. His pipe cracked against armor, sparks flying in the night. Lyran cried out, "Don't stop, please don't stop." The human's body ached, blood dripping from his arm, but his eyes stayed sharp. He fought not for himself, but for the boy's desperate hope. Every swing, every block, every strike was a shield between them and the cold hands of fear. The guards surrounded him now, circling like wolves. One raised his spear high for the killing blow. And then, light flashed. The mother, weak and broken moments ago, had raised her hand. Her glowing eyes burned brighter than ever before. A wave of energy rippled outward, knocking two guards back with a force like thunder. The human staggered but did not fall. He turned his head in shock. She was awake, fully awake. Her voice was faint but strong with will. "You will not take my son." The guards hesitated, shaken by the unexpected power. The human gripped the pipe tighter and charged, using the moment to strike hard, sending another guard crashing to the ground. The rooftop became a storm of sparks, steel, and shouts. One human, one fragile woman, and one small boy stood against an army, and for the first time, the guards faltered. The crowd below whispered in awe. Perhaps the truth could not be silenced after all. The human stood tall again, bruised and bleeding, but unbroken. "If you want them," he growled at the guards, "you'll have to go through me." And for the first time, the hunters hesitated. The rooftop was alive with chaos. Sparks flickered in the air, and the hum of the guards' weapons echoed like thunder. But something had changed. The human was still standing, bruised and bleeding. His pipe bent and cracked, yet his spirit unbroken. Beside him, the mother's faint glow grew brighter, and the boy's eyes shone with courage he had never known before. The guards hesitated. Their circle, once so tight and confident, was breaking. Some shifted back, unsure. Others looked at one another as if waiting for orders that did not come. The human's defiance had shaken them. From below, the crowd that had once turned away now watched in silence. Their whispers drifted upward like smoke. Why does he fight? He is only one. He is human, and yet he does not fear. The lead guard growled, breaking the silence. "This ends now. The truth dies here." He raised his spear high, energy crackling at its tip. The boy cried out, "No!" Before the weapon could strike, the mother's glow flared like fire. Her weak body trembled, but her will was unshaken. Light burst from her eyes, pushing against the guard with invisible force. He stumbled, his weapon slipping from his hands. The human moved in that instant. With the last of his strength, he swung the broken pipe and struck the guard across the mask. Sparks exploded, and the guard fell to the ground with a heavy crash. Silence followed. The other guards froze, staring at the human with disbelief. A single man, wounded and tired, had stood against them and won. Not because he was stronger, not because he had greater weapons, but because he refused to turn away. The crowd below gasped, and the silence broke into murmurs. Some shouted in anger at the guards, others cheered. For the first time, voices rose not in fear, but in support. The human lowered the pipe and turned back to the boy and his mother. He crouched, his chest heaving, his eyes tired but gentle. "It's over. For now." Lyran ran to him, throwing his small arms around his neck. "You didn't leave us. You never left us." The man hugged him close. "I promised, and a promise is stronger than fear." The mother struggled to her feet, her body weak but her glow steady. She looked at the human with gratitude and awe. "You risked everything for us. Why?" He met her eyes. His voice was quiet, simple. "Because someone had to. Because no one else would." Tears filled her glowing eyes. She touched his arm gently. "Then it is true. Humanity carries a light the others do not. The light to choose compassion." The boy looked between them, his voice trembling but strong. "You saved us. But you also saved more than us, didn't you? You saved the truth." The human nodded. "The truth must live. And as long as you live, it does." The guards, broken and defeated, slowly retreated into the shadows. The crowd began to shift, their fear cracking, their silence breaking. Some stepped forward, their voices rising, their courage sparked by what they had witnessed. On that rooftop, under the neon glow of a city built on lies, a single human had done what no one else would, and because of that, others began to see differently. The boy clutched his mother's hand, his tears now mixed with hope. He whispered to her, "We are not alone anymore." The human looked out over the city, the lights flickering like stars. His body ached, his wounds burned, but his heart was steady. For he knew this night would be remembered, not as the night of fear, but as the night one human proved that courage and kindness could burn brighter than any weapon. And so, in a world that had turned its back, humanity's light shone, because one man chose to listen to a child's desperate cry.